Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Music Muse. I want to welcome my guest, Imani Graham. Hello, Imani. How are
Hi,
you?
good. How are you?
How have you been? Like, what's what's going on with your music? Like, um, I just saw that Baby Blue hit 30,000 streams, and I just want to say congratulations. I love that song. I think it really speaks to the heart, and I really like how you added real sensory details into the lyrics. Like when I listen to it, um that part where you say, does she wear cheap perfume like you, like it really like sticks out to me because I feel like a true writer really can just appeal to all the senses, and that like connects an image and into your memory, and it's very nostalgic.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've been trying to do in like a lot of the music that I'm writing. Um, yeah, first I'm writing a bunch of new music, which has been really cool. I'm trying to get a little bit more, I guess, upbeat, I would say a little bit. But I also, still have songs that are true, like Baby Blue, and that's essentially what I've been writing since I've started writing music. That just type of music, and I was I was so like shocked, that so many people are resonating with it, and like hearing people's stories about it, and like also knowing my story is just really cool. Um, I mean, it sucks for it to happen to other people as well, but it's really cool that it touches people and they're able to relate. But yeah, I'm just writing a bunch of new music.
That's great. That's great to hear. I really like how, you have this indie vibe, and I think like I'm really excited to hear what you put out next because I think there's a lot of potential in your music. And like About Last Night, like I also listen to that song a lot, and it just puts me into like an indie movie. I feel like it could work really well in like an indie movie. And yeah, um so how old are you and where are you from?
Yeah, I am. I always have to think. I'm 24. um, and I am from Jackson, New Jersey. So that's like Six Flags.
Yeah, of
I
course.
yeah, I could
Yeah.
literally see King the Ka from my driveway when I was growing up. So that
Oh
was
my
cool.
God. I'm a Jersey boy, so yeah, I go to Jackson a lot for Six Flags. Really
That's nice.
insane. Like I'm telling you, like there's so much talent coming out of New Jersey and people really don't even realize it. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is so true. I think like I who oh like Jack Antonoff. I'm a huge fan of
Yeah.
his production and like Bleachers, and I feel like that's obvious, but he I feel like bring he brought a lot of light to New Jersey artists, and then like
Yeah.
with your show and like other people, they're just like really magnifying it, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So
I think yeah, Jersey like doesn't get a lot of like hype from anyone, so I think it's great. Like it's Jack Antonoff's like
yeah.
crazy. Like he's from, yeah, he's literally such a Jersey boy, and like he's worked with some of the biggest artists. So where are you about now?
I live in North Jersey. It's like, what is it, like 10 minutes outside of like Patterson, but like 20 minutes outside of the city. I could easily get there in my car.
Wow.
um, yeah. So that's like super cool. And then last year for a little bit, I lived in New York when I had a different job. And so I lived there and I got to like just explore, which was cool. And, live life, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. What lyric do you find most relatable that you've written to your own life and like that really just sticks to your existence?
Oh, that's a great question. Wow, I love that question. I have my lyric book right here. So like I'm the type of person that has to write everything down.
That's great.
I'll write on my phone, but once it's like written and I'm actually seeing it, I'm like, okay, this makes sense, this doesn't. Let me cross it out. I don't know. I was always like that in school too. Okay, I think one of the songs that I guess relates to me and like who I am the most is probably this newer song I'm writing. So like the first few words are don't know why I feel the need to scream it in my car. I am the type of person that I will drive around in my car. I will drive the gas out of my car. Um, just to, like clear my mind or to just listen to music. Or like one of the coolest things was when I was still, I had just graduated college and I went to college in DC. A couple of my friends and I guess this is true for most of my time being in college, we would just get in my car and just drive around and listen to music for like hours. But specifically that summer, it was me and two other friends. We did that every single day. And we like sometimes you don't know where you end up, and we're just like, oh crap, we need to get back. But yeah, but I think that is like just so true to me. Um, and sometimes when things are just like not going my way or the right way or the way I need it to go, I'm just like, oh, let me just go in my car, let me just drive, let me just tell my car everything so then I don't sound as crazy. But yeah,
Yeah, like
that sounds
having
pretty emotional.
having like conversations with yourself in your car. Like I low key do that too, but like yeah, literally just jamming out in your car and just going for a drive, like especially with your friends, because I mean, especially during COVID, like there hasn't been much to do. So like when I would hang out with my friends, like we would just hop in the car and like put on some good music, and it's really the best feeling. It's really
Oh
just
yeah.
yeah, I don't know, like you can't even explain it because like listening to music in your car is like I feel like it's a different experience than listening to it in your headphones. It really is.
It's so
And
different. And like I remember even growing up, or not growing up, but once I got my license, my sisters and I, we would like, even if we just like went and sat in my mom's car, like in the driveway because she's not letting us go anywhere. We're just sitting there like jamming out, or we'll just go for a drive like to my aunt's house or something like that. It's just like we had like a set playlist of what we're listening to. We're screaming, we're trying to harmonize or whatever you want to call it, or sing really well. But yeah.
that's great. So what are some of your favorite artists that inspire your style, and what's in your rotation right now?
Yeah. I'm again a huge Jack Antonoff fan. I would die if I ever worked with him. That would be amazing. But I like to say I'm like heavily in hip hop influenced. Like I really look at like Jay Dilla's production style and how he, sorry, I'm gonna nerd out for a second, but how
Oh,
he
it's
like
cool.
has filler drums in between everything and like really just has things on the off beats and such. Lyrically and production, I'm a huge John Bellion fan.
Oh wow,
Uh
yeah.
yeah, I
Where
am,
has
oh
he
god.
gone? Like I mean, The
Exactly.
Human Condition was just an amazing album. So I can't wait to see like what you put out next, because I'm like, well, I'm getting this like indie like vibe. It's kind of like lo-fi, but it's kind of also, you know, like a nice indie pop mixed with alternative. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's really like it's a really nice tone, and I'm really excited to see what you release next, because you said you're working on some more hype stuff, and it's really cool to see like artists like expand their style.
I make, a lot of my music on the piano, and then I sometimes dabble with my guitar. It really depends on the mood or the vibe that I'm going for. But for a very short while, I was making like house music
Oh wow.
and like EDM. And then I tried to mash it up with like hip hop and trap. And then it was just a big ball of like mess most of the time. And I had to I think I really had to go through that to find my sound. Like just making anything is the biggest thing. But yeah, it's super important to just kind of listen to everything and make everything. Don't like limit anything.
For sure. And also, like, you just got to start somewhere. Like, everyone kind of, when you start, you're kind of like, okay, what the fuck did I just make? But then, like, once you really get into it,
Exactly.
because like music is it's so developmental, it's so experimental, and you got to start somewhere, you know?
Yeah, I was honestly so afraid to put put that song out, I like I think, part of, being an artist and just making music is putting your emotions and putting your experiences like out there for everyone to see. And just a very private person, even towards my friends. And I have some friends that I've been friends with for like years now, and they're like, well, what's going on? I'm like, oh, nothing, I'm good, like whatever. um and then even like my one friend from college, she texted me the day it came out and she's like, this is the only song you didn't show me. And I was just like, I know. I know, I just couldn't I didn't show my sister. I send my sister like, drafts and drafts of music, didn't show her. It was just so personal, and I was just like, if I'm gonna do it, I just have to put it out there and just shock even myself that it's
That's
actually
that's
there.
pretty amazing. I think that's cool because you want to kind of see how people are going to react when you put a certain song out, especially something that's so like honest and raw, like you're putting your all into it. And you know feedback can kind of, it's good sometimes, especially from your like loved ones and like people who support you, but sometimes you want something to just be untouched. So if you were gonna tell people like you're an artist, what would you tell people? Like, what is the song that you would put people onto, and how would you describe your style?
Okay, let's see. I would probably I would probably show people, gosh, either the new one that's coming out or About Last Night. And I would tell them I'm an indie pop artist that dabbles in alternative music and has slight hip hop influences in there, but writes honest stories about just life and love and relationships and friendships. Um, and yeah, my experiences throughout these last, couple of years, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, I mean, I could definitely hear the hip hop influences in the production, like especially in like About
Yeah.
Last Night, like with the drums, and I'm like, okay, like this is a vibe. Like I like how you put that touch into indie pop because a lot of people just try to focus on making a certain style, and they kind of forget about that extra creativity and that extra layering. And I think like it's those small details that really like catch people's attention sometimes.
Oh yeah, I think like a lot of the music that I listen to, has some sort of like extra texture that, most people, if you're not listening for it, they won't realize it. But like real like music listeners are like, oh,
Yeah.
you added some random thing in the back right headphone,
Yeah.
and I had no idea. That's like number one what I love about, like Frank Ocean and White Ferrari. That's my favorite song. Just at the end when it all comes back
Uh,
in, oh, amazing.
I cry at the end. What was the moment that you kind of realized music was your passion and you wanted to put your all into it?
Oh, okay, yeah. I and it's on YouTube. I went to a summer camp. My mom was really big on going to like STEM summer camps, and I went to a music production one where we had to produce a song and, write it, everything like that, and then shoot a music video for it all in a week. And so I was paired with this like really great group of kids, and we made this song, and it was so cool to do that. And from then I was just like, I need to somehow do something like this. And so I think my mom, I think I had like I already had a computer, or she got me one, something like that. And then she got me a keyboard, like a MIDI keyboard. And from then I was just kind of, plugging away, trying different things. And then I grew up playing a bunch of instruments in middle school and high school, and I continued a little bit into college. And when I was, looking for colleges, I was just like, what do I want to do? I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be in the accountant, like, things that most
You
people
don't
go
want to do
into.
something like boring.
Yeah, I didn't want to do boring things. And
Yeah.
so I was just like, you know what? I want to go to school for music. And so instead, I went to school for audio production and business. And I was literally in the studio every single day,
Wow.
recording people, recording bands. My classes, like I learned the technical side there, and then the creative side, just comes on its own. They can't teach you that, but I was able to really say like, oh, I like working in studios, or I don't, or I want to do live music, or I don't want to do anything with it at all. But yeah, it was just a really cool experience from then.
No, that really sounds amazing. I think you really need um that real experience, like that in-person experience,
Oh yeah.
and I think there's just when you have a connection with music, it's unmissable. Like I don't know, like music really just speaks to the soul for some people, like us. We get it.
Exactly.
It, and I think obviously you had to get that business side because like
Yeah.
everybody gotta have
Exactly.
that extra protection, like and so like now do you go to like a recording studio or do your own thing at home and like do you produce
I
your own stuff?
I luckily have been able to get a bunch of recording things that I've used at school. So I use like a 7B. I have, my monitors and keyboards and synths and guitars and stuff. So I've been able to, you know, get that and work here. I'd love to go back into a studio, but I also like recording in the comfort of my own room and just kind of I do a million takes, and so I know I would not have the time to do that at a
Yeah.
recording studio. um and so yeah, I just kind of, sorry, I keep like looking at my microphone. I just kind of do my own thing here. And yeah, I produce everything that I make.
Wow.
Which it takes a little bit of time sometimes because I try not to force creativity. I just kind of let it happen. There are days where I'm like, I need to write at least one line or come up with one melody. So then I try and force it a little bit. But most of the days I just kind of go off of when my creativity strikes, and go from there. And then, yeah, I work in Logic and just plug away there.
I think there's a different like vibe when you record in the comfort of your own home because like I think that's why, you know, there's a whole subgenre called bedroom pop. It's
Exactly.
like
People, I think there's this like misconception that in order to make music, you need to be in some big recording studio spending thousands of dollars an hour or hundreds of dollars an hour just to record one song or something like that. And if you think about, you know, some of the artists, especially like these days, like Jeremy Zucker, where did he start? In his bedroom. Chelsea Cutler, where did she start? Most likely in her bedroom. And like I think
yeah,
it was like in her dorm room or something like
even
that. And
Billie
then
Eilish,
exactly, that's exactly
100%.
where I was going. Like
Yeah.
she won Grammys off of recording in her bedroom. Like
Yeah.
swept the Grammys off of something she sat on the side of her bed with her brother doing.
Out and like kind of put that image of themselves as an artist out because I mean, it's a scary thing, especially like because if you're not someone who has a big following or a big momentum, like it's so nerve-wracking because you're just like, you know, this is an image that I'm putting out. Like, what are people gonna think? Like, what are people gonna like my music? And I think what being a true artist means is that you like your music and you're happy with yourself and what you put out into your art. And that's what's important.
Exactly. I saw an interview with Phineas, and it was like I think it was talking about his solo career. I don't remember exactly, but I don't do everything the technical way, but I do it the way that I want and I like it. So that's exactly how it's going to be. And after I heard that, I was just like, you know what? That's so true. Like, do I vibe to my own music? If no, then that's a problem. And so, like, as long as I'm vibing to it and like maybe, you know, one or two people around me, because that's kind of important. But
Yeah,
you
you
know,
gotta have
like
the support. Like a lot of artists,
exactly.
yeah, you just gotta have that support system. And I think people don't even like register that until they're like fully like, you know, putting out their art. And I think what inspires artistry is, you know, having people that support you. And I think from what I've heard, like your sisters support you, and like you sound like you have a really nice support system.
Oh yeah, I have the most amazing people, including both of my parents. But yeah, like the most amazing people just supporting me, like my entire family, like my sisters, my cousins, my aunts, everything. Like when I released I think I'm in too deep, I didn't know my one aunt knew about it, and she texted me immediately and was just like, I didn't know you were putting out music, like this is amazing, like very encouraging words. But even my friends, like my close friends, my roommate, like my old college roommates, maybe some songs they're not necessarily like, oh, this is for me, but they're like, you're doing what you're doing and that's awesome, and as long as you're happy about it, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's really amazing. So like, do you have any performances that you want to do like post COVID, or like even have you even, I mean, have you performed like before?
Okay, yeah. So I am so excited to do something live. I That's what I want to do, and I am planning on, there's this thing called Sessions. They have like an Instagram and stuff like that. So I'm going to be working with them soon, as well as potentially doing a little like Twitch streams and such. Um Maybe, singing some of my unreleased things, like stripped, really stripped back. So it'll probably be really emotional time, but hey, we love to cry together. um
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, and then yeah, I want to do something live after, and hopefully, once COVID gets its stuff together, then we'll be able to do that.
Packs his bags, the
And
door,
goes.
like
Yeah.
it's gotta go. Yeah, because I
Exactly.
really miss that connection that I would feel at live shows. And I think your music could be super intimate, and I would love to see you like play at like a small venue, like starting off like
Oh
it would,
my gosh.
it would be
Yeah.
amazing, you know. And I think it would be like a really intimate experience. And I think like with independent artists, when they perform at smaller venues, they really have that connection with the crowd, and the music has to translate. And I think your music could be like be really well done in like a session, like you were saying, and like an intimate crowd. It could be really cool. um
Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm going for. I am such a huge fan of just small venue shows. Some of my favorite concerts that I've seen have been like in that environment, or club shows. Club shows are amazing. But anyway, side note, um, I see myself mostly doing small venues just to make that connection, with the people that are in the audience and that are watching and listening. And I just value the smaller intimate settings a lot more than, being in a huge stadium like singing to a million people that I can't see.
yeah, it's really crazy, like because you can actually see like people's faces, and you know how they're reacting and how they're singing to your songs. Like that's crazy. um
Exactly.
what song what song are you most proud of, and why? Like what would you say like is your staple song like for you?
Okay, I have two. I'm most proud of Baby Blue, just because of how nervous I was putting it out and how emotional that song is. And yeah, that was a ballsy move for me. And it worked out, thankfully. Even if it didn't, I would have still been proud. And there was just a lot of work and a lot of emotion that song took, a lot of courage.
I bet you cried a
Um,
lot when you made it.
oh boy, did I. I sometimes I'll like listen back I have a couple different versions of that song, and I'll listen back to like one or two, and I'm like, wow, like you can hear me like choked up on some of the takes, and I'm like, shit, like that's crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
My second song that I'm most proud of is, I would say, it's called Another Stupid Love Song. It's coming out the beginning of April. Um, that song, it's just fun.
It
Like to
sounds
me,
fun.
it's
I
fun.
was
Like yeah,
literally gonna say
there's
that. It sounds like a fun
yeah,
song. Like I would listen to that.
yeah. It's so like to me, it's fun. Yeah, there's a story behind it, and yeah, there's a story within it. And I'm sure if I stripped it back, it is probably really sad. But like that wasn't my intention going into it. And yeah, the production took a little bit extra for me. So that was really cool to like find exactly what it needed at that moment, and just kind of, it's like when it all clicked, I was just like, yes, like let's go. I was so excited, and yeah, I'm super so excited for like everyone to hear that and for it to come out. Yeah.
It sounds like you kind of challenge yourself a little bit with that song. Like you said that you kind of changed up the production and you were like experimenting with that. So that sounds really cool. I like the title already. I think that's
Thank you.
yeah, it sounds really cool. It sounds like an indie hit. Can't wait to
Yeah,
hear it.
yeah. A lot of the songs that I've been, that I've been making recently, I'm trying to challenge myself in different ways.
Thank you so much for being on my show. Everyone go stream Imani's music.
Thank you. This was so awesome.